regulations or otherwise. So in the controlling process, there are four steps. There are four steps in the controlling process. Step one, that is establish performance objectives and standards. Then in the second step, we measure actual performance. And in the third step, the actual performance is compared with the objectives and standards, and then the corrective action or necessary action required that is taken. So if you see that it is a persistent process, again, controlling process, that is a persistent process. So the first step, that is to establish goals and objectives and standards. So actually it is done during the planning process. Okay? So you are describing the job and laying down the performance criteria, and then that performance criteria and that job design are responsibilities of the units as well as the individuals. They are delineated. So the first step, that is to establish standards of performance, goals or targets against which performance is to be evaluated. So you must weigh the performance against a laid down criteria. So for that purpose, if you are not having any criteria how to measure the performance, so you cannot measure the performance of the employees or the units. So performance or the controlling process, that is actually not a subjective matter. That, for example, if a person is saying that you are good, a boss is saying that you are good or you are bad, so it is not like that. So evaluation that is actually done on the basis of certain objective criteria. So managers at each organizational level needs to set their own standards. Now, standards are the target or criterion against which performance is measured. And these standards may be in the physical terms, such as quantity of products. For example, if there is a syrup, a filling machine, so how much bottles that should fill in a particular amount of time, and so on. Similarly, units of service, labor hours, speed, volume of rejections, or many other such criteria. So it may be in the physical terms. Similarly, it may be in the monetary terms, such as volumes of sales, as it is usually present in the marketing or the sales departments of the pharmaceutical companies. Costs, how much cost is there, capital expenditure, profit. Okay? So these are standards in monetary terms in which you can evaluate the performance. Example are, for example, minimum of 95% of patients will be served within 10 minutes of their arrival at pharmacy for prescription. For example, you are running a retail pharmacy setup and you are evaluating the performance of the pharmacist or the employees. So, for example, it can be that a individual customer that or a prescription that must be served within 10 minutes of the arrival of the patient. So the waiting time for a patient will not be more than 20 minutes, for example, and the outstanding of drug utilization and the understanding of the drug utilization will be ensured by the pharmacist to 100% of the patient. Means that there will be 100% patient counseling at the retail setup. So these can be different types of criteria. These are just examples. For example, you are having the criteria of to get, for example, 50% marks in your individual paper or to attempt a minimum number of 3 questions out of the 5 or a 75% attendance and so forth and so on. So these are different types of criteria. Okay, sir. So now after that, you have set the standards. Then the second step, that is to measure the actual performance. So the actual performance is when the performance is performed by the employees or the organization. So after a certain period of time, or on a daily basis, or a monthly basis, or an annually basis, quarterly basis, the performance of the different aspects of the organization that is measured. So managers can measure outputs resulting from the worker behavior, or they can measure the behavior themselves. The more non-routine the task, the harder it is to measure behavior or output. So routinized works are more easy to evaluate, and non-routine works are difficult to assess. Example include controlling sales will require daily, weekly, or monthly sale figures to represent actual performance of sale force. For example, how much an sale officer have achieved its target daily or on weekly basis or quarterly basis or annually basis. Similarly, controlling production performance may be measured in terms of units produced per day, quality of outputs, or cost units. It is not easy to measure the performance of certain jobs. For example, performance of an R&D department or personnel. For example, how you will measure the performance of a research activity. So in the research activity, you are looking for example, if you are looking for a particular drug, let's suppose you are looking for a vaccine for corona, or for example, you are looking for a new drug, let's suppose for the AIDS or any other. So it is not necessary that you will be getting your actual results, because there may be failure of the experiments, and there may be that you are not getting what you are looking for, or that is not present in that particular experiment, etc. So certain jobs are very difficult to evaluate. Although there are criteria, for example, you can evaluate a research activity by, for example, publication. That, for example, for within 1 year or 2 year, that individual or that particular research project that will be having at least 1 or 2 publications, for example, research publication. The third aspect, that is to compare the actual performance against chosen standards of performance. Now you have standards and you have the performance. So it is just like, for example, you are buying a sugar from the shop, and you are having the balance, you are having the weighing dots, and you are also having the sugar. So you put the dot. For example, you are selling a 1 kg sugar. So the dot 1 kg that is placed in one, and in the one dot, and the sugar that will be placed on the other dot. So it means that if you are having both the standard as well as the performance. So now the third step, that is to compare the actual performance against the chosen standards of performance. So managers evaluate whether and to what extent performance deviates from the standards of performance chosen in step one. So you are having the standards, you evaluated the performance. So you are now able to find whether there is any deviation from the prescribed rules and regulations or not. While comparing actual performance against the standards, all relevant factors must be considered. So that is very much important, that the evaluation process are that is comprehensive. That is including all aspects of the performance. Uh, for example, goal is 10% increase in sale. Now, 3 personnel have attained 9.9, 9.3, and 8.7% increase in sales respectively. Now, which one have attained the goal appropriately? Yes, anyone? Yes, anyone? Out of the 10, which one have attained the goal appropriately? Yes? Can you hear me? No one? Okay, so now looking to the figures, so all these are actually closer to each other. Although 8.7 is less than 9.3 and the 9.9, and 9.9 is very close to the 10%. But in this case, you cannot clearly evaluate the performance whether this 8.7% sale is why it is decreased. For example, it may be a one time of decrease. Let's suppose the employee have got some sickness, or for example there is some death in the family, or many other can be happening, and let's suppose this 9.9 sale is because of a one time increased sale due to any reason. Okay? So means that evaluation heavily depends on the manager's analytical and diagnostic skills. Okay? So that is very much important to evaluate objectively rather than subjectively, and there should be no bias in the evaluation process. Now, the fourth stage, that is to evaluate result and initiate corrective action if the standard is not being achieved. So that is the fourth very important stage of control process. And if this stage is not present, and in most of the organizations, especially in our case, and especially in the government setups, these performances that are actually not present. The fourth aspect. Okay? So after evaluation, any of the following three actions is usually appropriate. Now you have evaluated the performance and you came to know regarding any deviation. Now what to do? So there can be three different alternatives. Number first is the maintenance of status quo. Status quo, that is a word you often hear. Status quo means that everything is okay. Okay report, okay. At the end of the day, okay. So means that everything is fine. Everything is as per prescribed rules and regulations. There is no deviation, and everything is going smoothly. So means that the status quo, or it should maintain or it should retain as it is. So it is appropriate when performance measures more or less up to the standard. So if, for example, no one can achieve 100% performance, but it is up to a certain extent, acceptable extent, so it can be used. So, for example, standard is 4% cost reduction, and the firm has achieved a reduction of 3.99%. So it is also indicated when other options are not available, not feasible, or not cost effective. So means that you have found a deviation, but there is no option available at the current, or it is not feasible. So you can go with the status quo although there is deviation. The second is the correction of deviation. Second option, if a deviation is there, the manager should know exactly where in the assignment of the individual or group duties the corrective action must be applied. For example, if there is an employee that is inefficient, so that can be transferred. There is an employee that have low efficiency, so he or she may be given a task to improve their performance. Or if there is a decrease in the sales, so the reason may be found out and that may be corrected, and so on and so forth. Depending on different types of organizations, different types of corrective actions that can be taken. Corrective action must also must be seen in light of the whole system. So that is very much important. Why an employee or a unit of the organization or any aspect of the organization is not functioning up to the system. So it should be evaluated empirically and objectively. And that is actually the real a manager, that how he or she is performing the evaluation process. Now it may be in the form of redrawing plans. You are, as we discussed, that planning and controlling, that are two sides of the coin. So you replan, modifying goals. For example, if the goals are not achievable, they are very much tough. Let's suppose in the exam, it is considered that you have to score, for example, 70% marks. So it means that this is not rational. You may be having, for example, a 50% passing mark. Reorganizing through reassignments, or clarification of the duties. For example, sometimes there are misconceptions, there are ambiguities in the rules that may be clarified, and there are many other aspects that are present in the actual work environment. Additional staffing, staff is overloaded, the additional staffing that is required, better selection and our training of the subordinate often there is also a problem that a proper training that must be given to the employees. So there may be many actions that can be corrective action that can be initiated. It may also be in the form of better leading using leadership techniques. So that is also important. Sometimes employees are dissatisfied because of the environment or due to many other reasons, and the leadership is ineffective. So in that case, increasing the leadership styles, removing unnecessary control mechanisms and many others that may help in a better control process. Number third option after corrective action, that may be a standard modification. Standard modification, as it is clear that you have the standards, and for example, let's suppose you are having a paper marks of 70%, and you are getting, let's suppose, more than 50% of the class failed, or majority of the employees, they are not getting the results. It means that your criteria is irrational, and that is difficult to achieve within human capacity. So in that case, you can modify the standards. So the standards may be too high or too low. Too low means that if, for example, let's suppose you are decreasing the criteria to, let's suppose, 30% or 20%. So it means that majority of the employees, even if they are performing at the low performance level, they still will be getting or will be passing through the criteria. So if it is too high or too low, so it should be modified. If all the employees will exceed the standard, means the standard has to be tightened. If no one ever meets the standard, means that the standard has to be lowered. Standard may be appropriate at the time of setting, but may need to be adjusted due to changes in the circumstances. For example, you have placed a standard, but now the conditions are changed, so you have to change or modify the standards. For example, a sales increase of 10% may have to be reduced due to the appearance of the new competitors in the market. For example, previously you are having a 10% increase in the monthly sale. Now a new competitor have emerged. So in that case, it is irrational to comply with this standard, and it must be lowered, for example, to a 7% or a 5% or the like. Okay, so this is the overall control process. You compare performance to the standards. Standard attained, yes or no. So if the standard is attained, so do nothing. Okay, everything is fine. If the standard is not attained, now variance acceptable, whether this deviation that is acceptable, whether it is yes or no. So if it is yes, again, do nothing. As it is most of the time, this is means that a deviation is acceptable within a certain range. Now, variance is not acceptable, so you evaluate whether the standards are acceptable. If the standards are acceptable, yes. Then identify the causes. What are the causes of deviations? So then you have to correct the performance. Okay? And for the performance correctives, you have to measure the performance. Again, okay, to take the necessary corrective actions. If the standards are not acceptable, so then revise the standard. Standard is revised, and then you are comparing, and this process is repeated. Okay, so this is the overall control process. Okay, so in saying it is very much easy, but in practice it is very much difficult to have an efficient control process. Although it is mandatory for proper functioning of the organization as per its goals and objectives. Because of these loose control processes, organizations that are usually ineffective and inefficient and are not complying to the standard goals and objectives that are laid out during the planning process. Okay, so this is sufficient for today. If you are having any question, so you can ask. Any question? Yes. So